welcome everyone to the Bus Talk. I'm your host, Alvin Hans. Today we're going to talk about the most hot issue in Malaysia now, that is crime. Malaysia was once the safest country in Southeast Asia. But now, Malaysia is among one of the most dangerous countries in this region. Crime are focused on the urban areas like Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. I'm sure they will have a story to share about crime in Malaysia. So now, let's have a look at the crime statistic in Malaysia for 2013. The crime index recorded from January to September 2013. The chart is divided into two sections, violent crime and property crime. The number of crime decreased from left to right based on the state. The type and number of crime occur more in urban and populated landscape like Selangor, Johor. So this is the statistic of crime in Malaysia. Now, I think everyone is aware that the hot news on our Malaysian media is about crime. Snatch theft, sexual harassment, and it has created anxiety, panic, and fear among all people in Malaysia. So now, we have a new segment, and let's see what the citizens have to say about this.
Well, I think the crime increased dramatically and is getting much more horrific in the past 2 years.
It really makes me frustrated and it drains my energy out, whereby every time I open the newspaper, I read the same thing.
Well, of course, I think it definitely should be snatch theft because it's the easiest way for them to do so.
I think kidnapping, because kidnapping in Malaysia are getting more and more common.
No. They act like they trying to help and care, but actually they don't.
Actually, it's a little bit fed up. I'm tired of it because it's always the same thing over and over again, whereby people get robbed or people get snatched by snatch thieves.
It's not to say that they have not done their job. I think it's just that the lack of the initiative to help the rugged, especially, you see, they are not sincere, I could say.
Honestly though, I think that it's not safe when you're alone or in a crowded place, whether day or night.
I don't feel safe at any time of the day because I won't know from where people might actually pop out to attack me, to sexual harass me or to rob me.
Usually I won't actually bring a bag out unless I have a lot of things. I'll try to take a bag, a pants actually with more pockets so I can stuff all my money and my phone and whatnot documents inside my pocket. Also be safer, at least it's nearer to me.
I won't dress too sexy and that also actually does not help.
We have seen the latest crime reports and what the public has to say about it. It is only safe to say that we must constantly be alert at all times and secure our valuables. We need to stay informed of crime legislation initiatives, know all the crime preventive measures, and report any criminal offences to the authorities. This is Irene Ong reporting for the past.
So, after watching this news segment, I feel that everyone can relate to the issue that they have spoken and to the incident like crime. But the real question here is, how does crime happen? Why does crime happen? And what can we do about crime? No worries. I have invited today a special guest, a social crime analyst, Ms. Kang Lian. Welcome to the show, Ms. Kang. Hi, Ms. Kang, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Ms. Kang,
Yes.
I was just asking our audience, what do they feel after they watch and see the crime statistic of 2013?
Yes, cases like snatch thefts, kidnapping, and sexual harassment have definitely increased over the years.
Well, why is that?
Well, it is widely accepted that a lot of the cases are not being reported. And the problem is that people have actually lost hopes in our police actually solving the case.
Well, why do you think our citizens out there has lost hope to our Malaysian policemen?
Well, it is probably because a lot of the cases that are actually reported are not looked into. Well, because our police force rather focus on bigger cases like drug busting and prostitution. We have done pretty well when it comes to those cases that would normally be published in newspapers and also broadcasted on the TV, which makes them seem like they're doing it just for the publicity, you see.
Well, I don't go too much into that. How about we discuss about the common characteristic of how this crime take place or happen?
Okay, let's look at snatch theft. The victims of snatch thefts will probably be the women who are walking alone, alright? And then there will be guys on the motorbikes coming from the back and snatching their belongings.
Why do you think it's so easy nowadays for people to snatch other people's belongings?
Well, because people are not aware of their surroundings, you see. And I think you will agree with me on this when I say that people like to be on their mobile phones all the time. They're not even looking at where they are walking. So it makes them very easy targets. And might I add that people need to be in crowded places, and also they need to take care of their belongings. They should shelter their belongings.
Wow, that's a piece of great advice. But do you mention crowded places? I feel that in crowded places, isn't it a higher chance for pickpocket to take place?
Yes, true. This is why I want to stress the importance of being alert at all times.
Well, then how about sexual harassment?
Okay, when it comes to sexual harassment, people have this idea that it happens because of how women are dressed, like being too sexy.
It's not that they're dressing too sexy.
No, it's not. A lot of cases actually show that it has nothing to do with sex. But actually, the men who actually want to empower the women, the weaker sex, in order to feel that they are more in control and more in charge.
Like what you have said, doesn't this just happen in workplace scenario?
No, it happens everywhere.
But isn't this just an exaggeration of that? Or how do you differentiate between a harmless form of flirtation?
Yes, a good point that you mentioned. Actually, studies indicated that sexual harassment has nothing to do with flirtation, but rather it is a very offensive act to the ladies. I'm talking about women having to leave their jobs and also schools after being harassed. And most of the people do not believe this, but they actually have this may lead to these serious psychological issues. Okay, we will know that you are not like harmless flirtation when you get touched in a sexual manner, or they hint you or force you to do things which makes you feel uncomfortable, you know.
Well, thanks for clarifying all that. Now, let's talk about kidnapping cases.
Okay, kidnapping can happen in so many ways now in Malaysia. It's getting very hard to trust people.
And why is that?
Okay, because kidnappers are normally people that you are close to you and the people that you thought that who are your friends. This is why it is important to be cautious of who you are hanging out with.
Well, that's really true. I feel that we should be cautious and alert all the time. Although it may sound very silly in the public, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for enlightening us on what we can do, this precaution that we can take. Do you have any other advice that how we can avoid all these criminal cases and all this crime?
Yes, I would recommend taking self-defense lessons to protect themselves.
Well, hold that thought. We'll take a short break, and after the break, I have a surprise for all of you out there. Welcome back to the Bus Talk. Let's recap what we have discussed before the break. Before the break, we are discussing about the crime in Malaysia, and we have here the social crime analyst, Ms. Kang, that share her opinion and her knowledge on snatch theft, sexual harassment, and kidnapping. And then she highlighted before the break that learning self-defense is a way to protect ourselves, right?
That's right.
Well, as I said, we have a surprise up for everyone. I've invited a martial art and self-defense coach here today, Mr. Mighty Joe.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Mr. Joe.
Yeah, thank you for
Welcome to
inviting
the
me.
show.
Hi. Yes.
Have a seat, Mr. Joe.
Yes.
So, Mr. Joe, how long have you been coaching martial arts and self-defense?
Well, it's been 5 years already, and actually I started off as a student and I felt interested on it. So I took part on some required training, and as you can see now, I am the coach Joe.
Oh, well done. Then, how many students you currently have under your training program?
Well, currently we have around 500 people in the training programs.
Oh, okay. Are they all adults?
And no, actually we do have the training program and talks for the children and teenagers as well. But I'm just in charge on teaching adults.
Oh, okay, well. So what type of program do you offer?
We do have a lot of training programs here. You can see through our website. And actually each of the training program is a 1 hour sections, and you can participate in it when you are free. And of course, basically I will start out with a warm-up activity first so that they can prevent from getting injured. And after that, I will just teach different kinds of the self-defense techniques so then more people know how to defend themselves through different kinds of the techniques.
Oh, okay. So the important question here is, why do you think self-defense is so important nowadays?
Okay, well, I believe all of you is aware that there's a lot of crime cases in this country, right? It's getting increased.
Yes.
And then most of the victims, as we can see through the newspaper and news from TV, a lot of the victims, they are either badly injured or they are losing their life. So as my point of view, I think if they know how to protect themselves through this self-defense training, they can at least change their fate. They can or at least they can prevent it from happening.
Well, I got to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because it's really terrifying nowadays to watch the news every day and you see crime happening every day. What do you think about this, Miss Kang?
Yes, I agree. Self-defense is really important these days because people should be aware that a lot of cases are not being reported or even solved. That is why learning self-defense should be on the top of the list. It is always better to be safe than sorry.
Yep.
Well, you're correct. There's no point crying over spilled milk then. But the one thing that I think everyone don't know is we are actually protected under the law in self-defense. But to what extent are we protected under self-defense? So now, come to under the section of 99 of the Penal Code. Every person has the right to defend themselves or anyone else against any offense affecting the human body or to defend property from any form of robbery, mischief or criminal trespass. So as an expert on this, Ms. Kang, can you elaborate further on the matter that we have discussed?
Well, it simply means that it is our legal right to protect ourselves when harmed. But however, we should bear in mind that this force that we use in self-defense should be proportionate to the danger itself.
Well, I see. We will move on and discuss the legal issue later, okay? So I think it's important to highlight to everyone about the snatch theft, sexual harassment and kidnapping. So let's have a look at some video.
Where you going ah? Hey. Come lah. We fetch you lah. No taxi leh.
What's wrong with you, dude? She's my friend. Just leave her alone, okay?
Hey, you look sexy today. Did you see my message?
Well, I think this is the scenario that often happen to us, and I think everyone is aware of this. What do you think about this, Mr. Joe?
Well, yes, it's common. As we can see, the girls are always being aimed, right? And when they are alone without common aid, this is because the attacker knows that they are not mentally and physically prepared to fight back.
Well, it's like you're saying they're programmed to be victim. Am I right, Ms. Kang?
Yes, I couldn't agree more. As you can see from the videos, the victims are attacked in broad daylight, unlike before when it usually only happens at night. You know, these criminals are becoming bolder these days.
Yes, I'm totally agree with you, Ms. Kang. These criminals are not even being caught as they already used to commit crime. And the thing is, they are so clever to aim on people like the girls in the quiet street without anyone there to offer help. And this is why I say it's very important to learn self-defense. For at least you know how to protect yourself.
Wow. Now back to the act of this section 99 under the Penal Code. Okay, let's say if a person have self-defense technique like what he have highlighted just now, but to what extent can they protect themselves under the law?
Okay, let's take the kidnapping case for example. The girl can actually apply the techniques used in self-defense when trying to avoid the attacker, trying to push the attacker off, but she needs to also know when to stop means when she's not physically harmed anymore, that's when she needs to stop.
Okay, I give you a scenario. What if the attacker is seriously injured or at some scenario that he end up dead? What happened after that?
Okay, actually the victim can be charged in court, and then the court will actually evaluate how serious is the case, and if it's proven illogical for her to hit the attacker until the state that he is in, she can be charged.
I didn't know that protecting ourselves could actually backfire.
Yeah.
No, it's actually pretty simple. They have rights like us too. It's just that we need to remember to not keep hurting the attacker when we are no longer in harm's way, you see. The best thing to do is to seek for help and also report to the police immediately when you have the chance.
Wow, a great piece of advice there. I think everyone should take note on this. And through this discussion, I truly realized how important self-defense is to all of us. Well, I want to thank you, Ms. Kang, for your time here and sharing your experience with all of us here. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay, it's my pleasure being here.
Before we go for a short break, I have a question for you, Mr. Joe.
Yes.
What type of self-defense can we do to protect us from snatch theft or sexual harassment or even being kidnapped?
Well, actually, I have a few techniques here and I would like to share to all of you. And I think it's a better idea for me to explain and demonstrate, but no worries, everybody, because these moves are all simple and easy to remember.
Wow, that's great. So we'll take a short break. And after the short break, there's a special guest that I've invited. So stay tuned. Well, before the break, we are talking about how does kidnapping and all this crime keep on happening every day. So by learning self-defense, we can actually prevent this situation. And right before the break, Mr. Joe, you're saying that you're going to demonstrate and show us how to do the self-defense to protect ourselves. Am I right?
Yes, I have 2 techniques here we'd like to share to everybody, but can I have a partner for me?
Oh yeah, I heard that you need a sparring partner. I need a... yeah, you're available, right? Please come on to the set.
Hello, thank you for sacrificing yourself. Okay, so the first one I would like to share to all of you is we call bear hug. It's a hug from behind to lock you prevent you to escape. So would you like to hug me from here? Yeah, like this. So when these situations happens, which is attackers try to lock you, you just try to move around. Just don't stop moving, okay? You just move around and try to slip your hand inside and put all your weight down like this. Whoa. And of course, when you escape from a bear hug, do remember to counter-attack the attacker. You can attack using your elbow to attack the groin here, okay?
Okay.
So especially they will feel extreme damage there. And of course, when they get hurt, you can just push them away and escape, all right?
Wow, that's a very good move. Do take note, guys.
And of course, we have a second technique here as well, which is called wrist hold, okay? So normally the attacker will grab the hands of yours like this. Okay, you can grab. Okay. So what you need to do actually is to pull yourself backward. Okay. So in common sense for the attacker, they will do this mistake, which is to pull you back. And this is the only chance for you to counter-attack them. Okay. What you need to do is you can just go forward when they're putting you to in front, and you just put the eyes or punch them or attack them. Okay. Would you like to share? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, wow. You see, my knees is right attacking here and I can punch him here. So, as the same as the technique before, after you hit him, you just push them away so that you can run away seek for help.
Wow, okay. Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Mr. Joe,
yes.
As I see, your technique requires a lot of movement, right? A lot of movement. So, do you have any technique that is much more simple to practice and is as effective as what you have shown just now?
Yeah, actually we have here another useful tips for all of you. You just need to know where is the most effective body part and the pressure point to hit when you're being attacked, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And what I can say is that because knowing this, the attacker normally know that you are no longer a passive victim. You know how to defend yourself if you know this tool, which is our most effective body part and also the pressure point to hit. Okay, this is to prevent, for the women, you can prevent it when you are having the sexual harassment cases.
Oh, okay. So which are these pressure points that you should aim for?
Okay, the body part that can easily targeted is the eyes, the ears, nose, neck, knees, legs, and groin, where I don't need to show where, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to share another 2 more moves here, which I feel many people neglect it, which is the knee. Actually, the knee is the ideal self-defense target, where you can hit every single angle of the knees and can create a partially disabled for the attacker movement, like
Whoa! Okay. I don't want to come to work with a walking stick, okay, Mr. Joe.
Right, but most people doesn't feel it's effective because they just don't know how and where to kick. Actually, if you kick the side of the knees, you can disable the movement temporarily, of course. And if you want to create a great damage to the attacker, you can kick for the front of the knees. It's very pain, but it can't make the attacker imbalance. And so I have a second pressure point here, which is the nose.
Nose?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the nose is very easy to tackle as well. What you can do is to use the heel of your palm and strike up under his nose. It really brings a great damage to attackers. Or if the attacker is right up, behind you, you can strike them like this. But of course, if they are taller than you. And if they're in front, you can choose to use your elbow as well, which is you can hit them like this.
Wow, I didn't know elbow can be used like that. Because I thought if my elbow were hit on something, it would be really painful.
Actually, except the nose.
Okay. So we have seen some very effective move from you here. And I think that if you put enough practice to it, you can actually pick up all this move.
Yeah, it's easy.
Well, moving on. Just now I said I have a special guest coming up for y'all. I have a victim that she experienced a near abduction from a city shopping mall. Okay, we invite Miss Alexandra. Hi, welcome, Miss Alex.
Thank you. Hi.
You have a seat.
How are you?
So, Alex, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, talk about a serious question that I have to ask you. Do you mind sharing all of us here and our dear audience about your experience of being nearly abducted, kidnapped, and when does this happen?
Well, actually, it happened 7 months ago. I was exiting the shopping mall and towards the parking lot. So what happened was I was putting my shopping bags into the back seat of my car. What happened was as I was putting the back door suddenly slammed against my back. And this was when I didn't realize there was someone behind me because he came all of a sudden and he pointed the knife at me, at my throat. I couldn't do anything because he whispered in my ears not to scream, not to do anything. And I was really terrified.
Oh, what happened after that?
Well, after that, the other guy came. So there's actually two guys. The other guy came and grabbed my car keys and grabbed my parking ticket and proceeded to the driver's seat. While the other guy, he shoved me into the car, shoved me deeper into the car. And he kept reminding me, he showed the knife and said, don't move, don't do anything, or I'll slash you. So what happened was I was begging them to let me go. You can take everything, you can take my bags and my credit card, everything, but no, they just ignored me. Then I realized what they wanted from me was not just my items, but they probably wanted to rape me as well.
Oh my God, I cannot imagine how you felt at that moment. Yeah. Then what happened then?
Well, I quickly gathered myself. I calmed myself, then I was looking around the car if I could escape. Thankfully, the door wasn't locked, actually. As they were exiting the mall, they slowed down, at the parking lot there. So this was when I tried to open the door and try to jump out.
Well, I gotta say, thank God you are very lucky today that the door was unlocked. Yes. Were you injured during that incident?
Yes, I was. And during the escape, it wasn't really that easy. Because as you can see right here, I had this scar from this incident. Because as I was jumping out, this guy slashed my hand, and it didn't occur to me that I was in pain, mostly because I was in shock. And he grabbed hold of my wrist and tried pulling me back in. Then this guy the driver actually shouted to the man to let me go, because maybe I was attracting a lot of attention by screaming and kicking. Yeah.
So is there anyone to help you after that?
Yes, actually, thankfully there was actually a mother and daughter. They came to me and they were asking me why am I on the floor and crying, and I was bleeding all over. And they contacted my sister, and this is when my sister brought me to the clinic to seek medical help.
Well, it's nice to know there's still very nice people out there that will help out. I would like to thank those people that helped Alex on that day. So Alex, did you lodge a police report after that?
Yes, of course I did.
Wow, okay. So I gotta applaud you for your courage to come up here, you know, to share your experience with all of us here. So I hope that you have a bright future in front of you and all the best for your future undertaking.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank Mr. Joe here, okay, for coming up to our show, show us some self-defense technique and teach us how to defend ourselves against such criminal acts.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too.
Okay, well, sadly enough, we have come to the end of our show. But you gotta understand one thing from this show. The world is no longer a safe place to live in. Okay, crime can take place anywhere, anytime. But now, do stay tuned for next issue of the Bus Talk. Thank you very much.